There are numerous examples that can be given in support of the proposition for an independent Kashmir. There are countries much smaller than Kashmir itself and with less population that have a history and a story to tell, that are independent and have sovereignty. And Kashmir is no exception in that respect. Full name of Kashmir is Jammu Kashmir, and it is divided between India and Pakistan. China also has a Shaksum Valley as well as Aksai Chin. So the genesis of Kashmir issue, at least at the international level, begins on 1st of January 1948, when Kashmir issue was taken to the United Nations. And so there are so many resolutions on Kashmir, and a UNICEF commission was also set up. Now, on October 26, 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh, the last ruler of Jammu Kashmir, signed a provisional accession, conceding to India foreign affairs, communications, and defense, and retained the right to actually legislate according to the Kashmiri constitution himself. Article 370 was created in the Indian constitution to protect the provisions of the agreements between India and Kashmir. And on 5th of August, revocation of Article 370 removed the link that provided that provisional constitutional basis to the Indo-Kashmir provisional relationship. So that means, as Noorani has already been mentioned, that Kashmir is a colony of India and India is ruling it as a foreign country. So Noorani also said that the plan to annex Kashmir and also revoke Article 370 was conceived in the British Parliament, were conceived in malice and executed in deceit. And and as I've already said, that India has now reverted to pre-1947 August 15 position or 26th October 1947 position, with revocation of the agreements between India and Kashmir. And this is a point that is being made by a late A.G. Noorani, who was a well-known lawyer and an expert on these affairs. Now, 70 years on, India and Pakistan promised at United Nations that they would resolve the Kashmir issue, and Kashmir issue, they have patently failed to resolve the Kashmir issue. And India and Pakistan also have a bilateral agreement called the Shimla Code. Now they have equally failed to resolve anything in accordance with that. And Shimla Code turned the ceasefire line of 1941 into a line of control. We Kashmiris don't recognize that, because the next step would be a permanent border between India and Pakistan. So we still call it a ceasefire line, ceasefire line, CLF. So now we are a colonized people. I have very little time, and so I will not give it. And as colonized people, Kashmiris have fundamental rights. These rights are affirmed in the UN first article of the United Nations Charter, also in the Covenant of Civil and International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which says that all peoples have the right to self-determination. By virtue of the right to self-determination, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural developments. Now, India, of course, has not ratified that, and one wonders why India has not ratified that, when India, on 15th of January 1948, in the UN Security Council meeting, promised that if Kashmir wants to come out of the temporary accession, Kashmir is free to do that. Kashmir wants to accede to Pakistan. Kashmir is free to do that. Kashmir wants to remain independent and become member of the United Nations. independent and member of the United Nations, Mr. President. Kashmiri people have a right to do. And equally later, I have also a reference from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, which has already been mentioned there. He repeats exactly the same thing in 1952 about the Kashmiri people, and he goes even further. And he said that as a great nation, we have given our word to the United Nations and the people of Kashmir and the Kashmiri leaders that they have the final right to final solution. Now that final solution has not arrived. That time has not arrived. And honorable members of this House can make whatever they like and make their own choice about what Indian position, what this means. But we consider it that it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal of the Kashmiris by the Indian governments, successive Indian governments. And Mr. Nehru called it the great nation, and Nehru's nation has actually betrayed the Kashmiris. And all who don't necessarily support the idea of Jammu and Kashmir being an independent and sovereign state would also agree that the Indian state and successive governments have over the years betrayed the Kashmiri people. Now, I want to move on and say that the idea of independence is not a new idea. It's not a novel idea. And it's a phenomenon that is well known in Kashmir. And this is exactly, and it's new. It's not new because the founder of Pakistan, Mr. M.A. Jinnah, on 17th of July 47, just a little less than a month before he actually becomes the head of a newly created country, Pakistan, out of India, and India becomes also independent on 15th of August. He said, as a lawyer, a renowned lawyer, he said that once the paramountcy on the states lapses, they become independent. They become free to join Hindustan Constituent Assembly and Pakistan Constitutional Assembly. So the idea, therefore, is not only spoken by the Kashmiris, but also the Indian leaders of the time were also saying that Kashmir has that right to exercise. Now, the Maharaja of Kashmir and even late Sheikh Abdullah, and this is Balrajpuri, who was saying that both entertained the idea of independence. Both would have exercised and would have wanted Kashmir to be independent if Pakistan supported that. Now, I have just quoted Mr. Jinnah, and Pakistani state owes to Mr. Jinnah's vision and wisdom that it should support the independence of the Kashmiri people. Now, the biggest backtrack in Indian history over the past 77 years has been done by the current Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, or current government, in fact. Now, Mr. Modi revoked Kashmir's relationship with India and India's relationship with Kashmir, and he adopted a muscular policy. I'm sure in this house there are many people, learned people, who know what I am talking about. And this policy meant that he refused to talk or even recognize that there is a dispute over Kashmir. Simply, he is not prepared to talk about or even recognize that. He has incarcerated people like Yasin Malik, for example. He has prosecuted him, and he was on a hunger strike a couple of days back. He gave it up because his demands have been met by the authorities. Now, Kashmir, independent Kashmir, can be a bridge of peace between India and Pakistan. It can be a crossroad of prosperity in the region, and it is the need of the contemporary times that Kashmir should be a neutral, independent and sovereign state. And that is something that is in the interest of the whole of subcontinent and the regions surrounding it. Thank you very much.